Good morning, dear friends. While in the previous class, you learned about motion in one dimension chapter. So that chapter is already completed. So in today's class, I will start a new chapter, that is laws of motion. So in the last law of motion, first you are going to study about the effects of force. So when force is applied on a body, it can cause some effects on that body. The first effect is about it can change the state of rest or the state of motion of a body. Assume a ball is in a state of rest, so it is not moving initially. So now when you kick it, when you apply the force on that ball, then it will start to move. Initially it was in a state of rest. So by applying force, its state is changes from rest to motion. Then when a cricketer hits the ball, its direction is changes. Right? So on the ground, the fielder can stop the ball by applying the force with his hands. So when a ball is in a state of motion, then by applying the force on that ball, he can stop the ball. Initially it was in a state of motion, but by applying force, the state of a ball is changes, that is from motion to rest. So what is the first effect of force? That is when force is applied on a body, it can change its state of rest or motion. Similarly, so when I release this chalk piece, due to the earth's pull, due to the earth's gravity, this body will start to move in a vertically downward direction. So here the earth is exerting force on this body to attract it. So that is called as exertion due to gravity or the earth's pull, right? So when a person is cycling, so then by applying more amount of force, he can increase the speed of the bicycle, right? So in these all cases, we understood that when force is applied on a body, its state is changes from rest to motion or from motion to rest. So that is the first effect of force. And the second effect of force is when force is applied on a body, so that force can change the shape or size of an object. So when a force is applied on an object, it can change its shape or size. So let's consider a sponge duster. So when you apply the force, when you squeeze it, then its size and shape is changes because of the applied force. So when a string is stretched, which is hanging from the rigid support, then its length is increases. Just now take the rubber. When you stretch it, then its size and shape is changes. So these are all examples for the effect of force. When force is applied on all these objects, its size and shape is changes, right? So these are the two effects of force. So when force, in some conditions, in some cases, when force is applied on a rigid object, when force is applied on a rigid object, that force does not change the intermolecular space, means the dimension of the body, the shape and size of the body is remains the same. Suppose just assume this board is a rigid body. If I apply a force on this board, then whatever the force I am applying, that force doesn't changes the shape or size of an object, right? So if the size and shape of an object doesn't changes, means the intermolecular space space of an object is remains the same. The intermolecular space of an object doesn't changes here when the force is applied on which type of bodies. When the force is applied on a rigid body, then the size and shape of an object does not change, but that force can cause the motion in that object. Suppose if this board is free, it is not fixed. If I apply the force, its size and shape does not change. But if I apply the force at one end, then I can change its state. Means I can produce the motion in it, right? So that is what takes place in case of rigid rigid object, when force is applied on an object. When a force is applied on a non-rigid object, then the force can change the dimension of an object. Means the force which is applied on a non-rigid object, then it can change its size and shape of an object, then as well as it can produce the motion in that object, right? So these are the two important cases. When a force is applied on a rigid object, no intermolecular space changes, so the dimension of the body is remains same. When force is applied on a non-rigid object, the dimension of an object is changes, and the force which can produce motion in that object, right? So by the application of forces, so understood these all points. So from these all points we can say that we can define the force as it is a physical cause. So force is a physical cause. Either it changes the state of rest or motion of a body, or it changes the shape or size of an object. So that is called as force. So now once again I am going to define force. Listen carefully. Force is the physical cause. Force is the physical cause which changes the state of rest or motion of a body, or which changes the shape or size of an object. So that is what we call it as force. Now on the point of view of application of force, it is classified into different types. So that is, only two types are there. In that, first one is contact force, and second one is non-contact force. So these are the two kinds of forces. One is contact force and one more is non-contact force. See, contact force is nothing but the force is exerted between two bodies when they are in physical contact. So let us consider these two are the bodies. So body A and body B. So these two are in physical contact. So then the force exerted between these two bodies is called as contact force. Contact is nothing but what? Two objects should be touching with each other. So then only the force is exerted between those two objects. Then such type of force is called as contact force. The example for contact force are frictional force, right? Normal reaction force, tension force, force exerted by the spring, force exerted due to the collision of two bodies. So these are the examples of contact force. So now let us learn one by one of these examples of contact force. So which is first one? frictional force. You already learned in the previous standards what do you mean by frictional force. So frictional force is nothing but it is the opposing force. When a body is in a state of motion, the frictional force opposes that motion of the body. Right? So just assume. So this is the surface. On this surface, a ball is rolling. The ball is rolling on the rough surface. So the shape of surface is rough. When a ball is rolling on the rough surface, then the surface is exert a force on the ball which is exactly opposite to the direction of motion of ball. In which direction the ball is rolling, to that exactly opposite the rough surface is applies a force on this ball. So then that force can stop the moving ball here. So it opposes the motion of this moving ball. Alright. So this type of force is called as frictional force. So frictional force is nothing but the force which opposes the motion of moving body. That is called as frictional force. Next, normal reaction force. So before going to that, remember in the frictional force, the force exerted which is exactly opposite to the direction of moving body. Right? So here I am walking. So whenever you are walking, so there the force is exerted by the floor. Right? So on the slippers. So that is also called as frictional force. So due to that frictional force, our slippers will wear and tear. So due to that reason, right? So due to the frictional force which is exerted on the slipper, which causes tear and wear. So that is about frictional force. And next one is normal reaction force. So when an object is placed on a surface, on a table, alright. So next, the object which is placed on a table surface, it is exerting force due to its weight in vertically downward direction. Consider. So this is the surface of a table and it is an object. So now the object is applying force in vertically downward direction due to its weight. It is applying a force on the table surface due to its weight. In which direction? In vertically downward direction. So even though it is applying force on the table surface, so there is no change in its state. Means it is not moving. So why? Because even the table is also exerting force equally in upward direction normally on this object. How the table is applying force on this object? Normally or perpendicularly on the surface of this object. This is called as a normal reaction force. Suppose for example, if I hold a duster like this, right? So now the duster is exerting force in vertically downward direction due to its weight, but it is not moving. So here my palm is also exerting force in a vertically upward direction, which is equals to the weight of an object or weight of the duster here, right? So the force exerted by my palm is exactly normal or perpendicular to the surface of this object, right? So the force exerted by my palm is balances the weight of this duster. So this type of force is called as a normal reaction force. And third one is about tension force. Tension force which is acting in the string. Alright? So just consider a string is suspended from the rigid support. A string is suspended from the rigid rigid support, and at the free end of the spring, if you apply the load, when the load is applied to the free end of the spring, then the load is pulled the string vertically downward direction due to its weight. So the force applied by the load is in vertically downward direction because of its weight, right? But the string is exerting force in an opposite direction. So opposite direction of the load. So the load is exerting force in downward direction, but the spring is exerting force in upward direction. So the force which is exerted by the string to balance the load in the vertically upward direction is called as tension force. Here the force, due to this force only, the string balances the load, but this force is acting in vertically upward direction. So how we come to know that whether it is applying force in upward direction or downward direction? So just if you cut the string at this point just above the load, then we will come to know that the string will move upward direction. Due to the weight of the load, it moves downward direction. So right, so if you cut the string here at this point, then we will come to know that the string moves vertically upward direction, right? So at the time it will start to oscillate due to its tensional force. So here the load is actually acting a force in vertically downward direction. So these two forces are equal and opposite. So due to the tension force, the load is balanced here. So if they ask you a question, many times they ask this question, see, remember this. So draw a string which is suspended from the rigid support and a load is applied to that string, and mention the force applied by the load and show the force applied by the string, right? So this is what you have to draw the diagram. So this is called as the tension force. And next one is about force exerted by the spring. Consider a spring which is kept fixed at one end to the rigid support. So this is the rigid support, right? So this is spring. So one end of the spring is fixed to the rigid support and another end is kept free. When the spring is either compressed or stretched by applying a force at the free end, then the spring is exerting force exactly opposite to the direction of displacement. So this is the normal condition of the spring. This is what normal condition of the spring when the force is applied on the spring. It means when the spring is stretched on the other end or at the free end, by applying force we can stretch this spring. So here when the spring is stretched, then the spring is exerting force exactly opposite to the direction of displacement. So now we are displacing the spring away from the rigid support by applying force at this end. So now when you release it, you will come to know that the spring is exerting force in the opposite direction exactly to the direction of displacement. In which direction the spring is displaced, opposite to that the spring is exerting force. So in this direction the spring is stretched, means towards the left. Towards the left the spring is stretched, but the spring exerting force towards its right or towards the rigid support. So this is in case of when the spring is stretched, or when the spring is compressed. When the spring is compressed by applying force at the free end, then we are actually applying force towards the rigid support, but the spring is exerting force away from the rigid support. So, and the magnitude of force applied by the spring, which is exactly equal and opposite to the direction of displacement of the spring. So, this is called as the restoring force. Restoring force of the spring. Restoring force means the spring exerting a force by itself to regain its shape and size or to regain its length. That is called as restoring force. Restoring force of the spring. Understood? And in some cases, when the spring is kept fixed between two bodies, this body A and body B. So now the spring is fixed between two bodies normally. So then in this case, if the bodies are pushed towards each other, body A and body B are pushing towards each other, then the spring exerts a force opposite to that. Means the spring exerts force in outward direction. So with the help of bodies, we are exerting force towards the center, but the spring exerts force outwards. In this case, the two bodies are pushing away from each other. So when two bodies are pushing towards each other, then the spring exerts a force and which makes the body to move away from each other. Or if the two bodies are applied a force away from each other, then the spring is exert a force and which pulls the bodies towards each other. So now, this body B. So what happens in this case here? The two bodies are moving away from each other by applying force. But after releasing that force, the spring pulls these two objects towards each other. Means the force exerted by the spring is exactly opposite to the force exerted by these two objects. If the force exerted by these two objects away from each other, then the force exerted by the spring is towards the center. So next, force exerted by the bodies due to the collision. Consider two bodies of different masses. So body A and body B. So these two objects are moving towards each other. The body A is moving towards the body B and body B is also moving towards the body A. So this is the initial condition. So when these two bodies are collided with each other, then body A is exerting force on the body B. At the same instant, body B is also exerting force on the body A. But these two forces are equal but acting in opposite direction. So here the force exerted by the body A on the body B is given as FBA. FBA means the force exerted on the body B due to the body A, which is equals to the force exerted by the body B on body A. So now the force exerted by these two bodies are equal, but those two forces are acting in opposite direction. So from that we can write it as FBA is equals to minus of FAB. Right? So this type of force is called as force exerted due to the collision. So this is the initial condition. This is after collision. Means this is the during collision. After collision, what happens? These two bodies will move away from each other. So this is how the body is moving, body A is moving, and this is how the body B is moving. So this is the initial condition, this is during collision, and this is after collision, the body is moving away from each other. So this is all about the contact force. Frictional force, normal reaction force, tension force, force exerted by the spring, force exerted due to the collision. So these are the some examples related to the contact force. So in the next class, I will explain about the other type of force, that is non-contact force.